The movie opens with a highly talented programmer at MIT who is deeply involved in studying nonlinear cryptography. Alongside a team of students, he develops a groundbreaking surveillance software called Spartacus. This program has the ability to control any computer's audio-visual components remotely, using the internet to connect them to a central master computer. The team showcases Spartacus at a campus fair, catching the eye of Dell representatives who show considerable interest in its potential applications. Outside of his programming endeavors, James is driven by a personal quest. His father vanished under mysterious circumstances when James was just a child, and he is determined to find any clues that might reveal what happened. This obsession consumes much of his time as he scours the internet and other sources for information. During a university career fair, James captures the attention of a graduate recruiter from Dell by giving an impressive live demonstration of the Spartacus program. This encounter positions him for a promising career opportunity. Later that evening, while working a shift as a bartender, James encounters Walter, a man he had noticed observing him at the fair. As they engage in conversation, Walter discloses that he works for the CIA, adding a new layer of intrigue to James's life. James initially declines Walter's offer, stating bluntly that he is not interested. However, before leaving, Walter makes a passing reference to James's father, hinting at some knowledge of his mysterious disappearance. This piques James's curiosity, prompting him to catch up with Walter, just as he is about to leave the restaurant. Intrigued by the potential connection to his father, James agrees to participate in the CIA selection process. He soon finds himself at CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia, where he undergoes a series of rigorous evaluations. These include a written aptitude test, multiple psychological assessments, and a polygraph examination. During the screening, James meets Layla, another recruit. After passing the initial assessments, James, Layla, and the other successful candidates are taken by bus to the CIA's training facility, commonly known as the Farm. At the Farm, Walter briefs the recruits on what lies ahead in their training. He introduces them to the agency's secretive methods and strategies used in espionage. The briefing is followed by an inspiring speech about patriotism and serving the country, setting the tone for the intense training that awaits. James and his fellow recruits then embark on their journey into the world of covert operations and intelligence gathering, immersing themselves in the skills and techniques essential for becoming CIA operatives. James quickly excels during the various stages of his training, mastering a lot of skills like weapon handling, evasive driving, and hand-to-hand combat. Testing Mission 1.
Your objective is to gain entry, install 3 bugs each, and exit the bug house.
His abilities set him apart from his peers, especially during a particularly challenging drill that goes wrong. James manages to turn the situation around by dramatically diving through a glass window. An impressive feat that earns him widespread admiration from the instructors. Walter, in turn, provides practical demonstrations on how to outsmart a lie detector by controlling physiological responses like heart rate and eye movements. One evening, the male recruits are taken to a local bar and given a simple task: to approach and engage a woman in conversation. James immediately starts making progress by striking up a conversation with a young woman. However, he notices Layla sitting alone at the bar, looking visibly upset and seemingly intoxicated. Concerned, James leaves his initial target to check on her. Layla, appearing disheartened, tells him that she has been dropped from the program. James offers her some kind words, but the situation takes a turn when Layla begins to flirt with him. She eventually persuades him to step outside of the parking lot, where James soon realizes that Layla was actually on her own training mission to distract him and prevent him from completing his assignment. The next day, James gets a chance to even the score. During a polygraph test, it's his turn to ask the questions, and he takes full advantage, putting Layla on the spot with a series of probing personal inquiries. A few days later, Layla and James are assigned to work together in a training exercise focused on counter-surveillance techniques. During the drill, they are suddenly ambushed, forced into a van, and then flown to a secluded location where they are imprisoned in separate, dungeon-like cells by what seems to be a foreign intelligence agency. Over the next few days, James endures intense interrogation and brutal torture as his captors demand information about the CIA training facility and his instructors. Utterly revolting. Despite the relentless pressure, James refuses to reveal anything. However, his captors show him evidence that his silence is also causing Layla to suffer, using her distress to break his resolve. This psychological manipulation eventually forces James to crack, and in a moment of desperation, he shouts out Walter's name, betraying his instructor. Immediately after, the back wall of his cell rises, revealing that the entire ordeal was a staged training exercise. His fellow recruits, along with a visibly emotional Layla, have been watching his every move. Walter then takes this opportunity to drive home the primary rule of espionage: never let yourself be captured. That night, James is informed that he has been removed from the program. Devastated, he goes to a motel and drowns his sorrows in alcohol. In a drunken stupor, he calls the Dell recruiter to inquire about a job. To his shock, he wakes up the next morning to find Walter quietly entering his room. Bravely managed. Walter discloses to James that, although all candidates eventually break under pressure, James managed to endure longer than any other candidate in the past 15 years. The act of removing him from the program was a staged tactic to recruit him as a non-official cover operative within the CIA's counter-terrorism division. The role would involve him working undercover, without the safeguards of diplomatic immunity. Walter further explains that James was intentionally paired with Layla during their training to build her trust. The CIA has discovered that Layla is acting as a spy for a foreign intelligence agency, assigned to steal a highly classified computer virus from the US government. The virus is engineered to spread through the national power grid by infiltrating the wiring of standard electrical outlets. Taking on the mission, James reconnects with Layla, who has since graduated, by posing as a junior data analyst at the CIA. He orchestrates multiple encounters with her, and their relationship starts to rekindle. One night, after they share coffee, James helps Layla with her coat and subtly attaches a listening device beneath her collar, which allows him to monitor her conversations. As their relationship grows more intimate, James spends the night with Layla. While she is asleep, he secretly accesses her computer and finds multiple segments of the virus code. When Layla wakes and notices James on her computer, she does not confront him immediately. Instead, she waits until he leaves and then checks the computer herself, discovering that he was also searching for information about his missing father. After reporting to Walter and receiving security clearance, James disguises himself as a mail delivery worker to sneak into Layla's empty office. He narrowly escapes without being detected. He then pieces together that Layla is smuggling the virus out of the building in small parts, using a USB drive hidden in the false bottom of her thermal coffee mug. One morning, after spending the night at Layla's apartment, James notices her attaching a surveillance device to his jacket. Once outside, he secretly removes the device and attaches it to a passing dog, then hides behind a parked car to avoid being tracked. He follows Layla to uncover the identities of her contacts and observes her handing a note to an unidentified person wearing a hood at a local train station. James pursues the hooded figure into an underground corridor where he is ambushed. A struggle ensues over his gun, and in the heat of the moment, James shoots the attacker and kills him. To his shock, the person is revealed to be Zach, a fellow CIA agent from his training class at the farm. James retrieves the note from Zach's pocket, which suggests that his own cover may have been compromised. Realizing the gravity of the situation, James locates Layla's car on the highway and, in a desperate move, uses his truck to force her off the road. Holding Layla at gunpoint, James angrily opens her coffee mug and retrieves the hidden thumb drive, demanding an explanation. Layla, maintaining her composure, tells James to check her pulse through her carotid artery, as she explains. She claims that she and Zach were tasked by the CIA to test the facility's security by trying to smuggle out a fake virus. Despite her explanation, James urges her to flee for her safety. Skeptical, he uploads the contents of the thumb drive onto his laptop, and, using his extensive coding expertise, discovers that the program on the drive is not a simulation, but a real virus. Alarmed, he calls Layla to warn her and bids her goodbye, feeling uncertain about his own future now that everything he believed seems to be unraveling. Determined to get to the bottom of things, James confronts Walter about the conflicting stories. Even with a gun pointed at him, Walter remains unperturbed and congratulates James for passing what he claims was the final test. He reveals that the virus was never real, and Zach is still alive. The entire scenario was just another elaborate ploy to assess James's capabilities as an operative. James remains doubtful, so Walter challenges him to shoot him in the chest with his own service weapon, claiming it's loaded with blanks. When James hesitates, Walter swiftly knocks the gun from his hand, causing the bullet to shatter the rear window, revealing that the gun was in fact loaded with live ammunition. With his true intentions exposed, James runs into an abandoned warehouse, with Walter in pursuit, now alarmed with the recovered gun. As Walter searches for James in the warehouse, he loudly reveals his true plan. He confesses that he orchestrated the entire charade to gain control of the virus, and then planned to frame James as a traitor before selling the virus for a large profit. Walter also admits that his supposed knowledge of James's father was fabricated, shattering James's memory of his father. Feeling cornered, James pretends to surrender and agrees to hand over the laptop containing the virus. He gives the device to Walter, who doesn't realize that it is running James's Spartacus program, which broadcasts Walter's confession live to CIA headquarters. Furious, Walter chases James outside, where they encounter a CIA tactical team arriving there, unknowingly arrested.
Put it down, Walter.
Walter, unaware of the true situation, rants about how he has been mistreated by the agency for years. He doesn't know that the Spartacus link was a fake, and the SWAT team was actually there to arrest James for Zach's supposed murder. Realizing too late that he has exposed himself, Walter draws his weapon aggressively, forcing the tactical unit to subdue him. After the confrontation, Layla comforts James as he prepares to return to Langley for debriefing. While they are driving, another CIA agent acknowledges James's success, implying that espionage runs in his family, and confirming that his father did indeed work for the CIA. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.